Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Connors again with section 6 of Stop Fighting Cancer. Thanks for downloading the book. I hope this little program is helping you. And we are starting to get into some more exciting stuff, things that I really like to do with not only helping people with issues of cancer, but Lyme and all sorts of different disorders. We start to talk today about the Rife machine. Now, I understand we have a variety of different groups of people that are listening to this and reading this information and searching for hope online. And when you ask somebody about a Rife machine, some people might have some knowledge, and most people have zero knowledge. What in the world is a Rife machine, and why would I want to use one? Well, I cannot explain it all in this little presentation. Again, I mentioned on a previous presentation that I have about a 20-minute presentation on our website that explains the Rife. Again, that is an overview. You can't explain somebody's life in 20 minutes and all the work of their scientific work of their entire life and really now a couple generations of work in a short presentation, but at least gives you an overview. So Royal Raymond Rife is the person we're talking about, and that is who a Rife machine is named after. Royal Rife was a microscope manufacturer. Matter of fact, he really created the first live cell microscope. He received multiple accolades. He had dinners in his honor. He was considered by many in his time to be a scientific genius. Maybe not quite in the order of Tesla, but he was quite the genius. In his microscope, he was able to see live bacteria and live virus. That's where he won a lot of accolades, that he could see a live virus in a person's blood sample. And he could then, through the use of frequencies, manipulate that virus or that bacteria, that single cell organism, and he could kill it. So he took microbes, pathogens, and by using a frequency generator, and what he ended up ultimately creating was a light frequency generator. And using that light frequency generator, he could kill those pathogens. He thought that he was lysing the walls of the pathogen, but thereby killing it. That's what he believed at the time. Now we know that there's multiple reasons why Rife light frequency generators work. That is actually what he considered the main reason, is now considered a minor reason. It works on a quantum physics frequency level. It can be super beneficial. Now, that being said, it is solely a tool. It is like any other tool. It needs to be used correctly. Though you can't really do any harm with a Rife machine, you could use it and do little good as well. So if you're trying to help a person with cancer and using a Rife machine, if you're not hitting the frequencies of that person's cancer, you're going to do very little good to that person, and they may use you spending time on it all for naught. Same thing with if you're trying to kill Lyme disease or a bacterial infection or a virus or something like that. If you're not hitting the frequency of that organism, you're not really going to do a lot of good for that patient. So much of our time is spent trying to figure out the frequencies to use. Remember, that is the fourth pillar in our four pillars. What's the cause? How are we going to get rid of the cause? What are we going to use from a nutraceutical standpoint for that person's cancer? And fourth is, what frequencies are we going to use? So the way we use a Rife machine is we program it for the patient to typically use simply at night while they're sleeping. So part of our philosophy of care in dealing with a person who has cancer is that I want them to be less consumed with the treatment of their cancer and more consumed with seeing this as a bump in the road, and you have to use wisdom and make the right steps, but you got to move on and live your life. I think if I was dealing with stage 4 cancer and my life was consumed with killing the cancer, I would be doing my loved ones a disservice in spending the majority of my time trying to get better instead of spending the majority of my time trying to live. Now, I understand when you're in the throes of a disorder, you need to take some time and deal with it. But what we want to do is make the majority of the patient's treatment be at night while they're sleeping. So the use of the Rife typically, unless the person is in quite a bad state, we typically only program night programs. So they're going to bed, opening up the computer, turning on the Rife machine, running their specific program. We program Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every night is a different program. So if it's Monday, they'll open up their program, hit Monday night, hit run, close the computer, and they'll go to bed with the Rife machine. Now the light is a bulb that goes in their bed, or typically they might cuddle with it, or it might go behind their headboard. In our house, it goes over our headboard and between my wife and I. We don't actually see the light, it's behind our pillows, so it doesn't disturb our sleep, and we use it every single night. So that's what a typical cancer or Lyme patient would do as well. They'll use it every night on the program that we've created for them. If they're very, very ill and they're non-ambulatory for any reason, then I'll create day programs as well. They might as well use it while they're lying there. Many times I'll create some short programs. So if they're going to sit and watch a movie, or you're going to watch a football game, you might as well turn it on and get the benefit from it. It also comes programmed with over 1,000 different programs that we and other people have created, that are labeled for all sorts of different disorders. Now, the Rife, again, is a tool. It's a tool that works best on killing cancer cells. It works best on killing living organisms. It really does very little good if a person has, not cancer or Lyme, but they have a heavy metal toxicity. The Rife machine is not going to detox heavy metals, or it's not going to detox chemicals. It will help with the liver and help liver detox pathways, so it'll do that indirectly, but it's not going to chelate heavy metals out of a person's body. So the best use of a Rife is with cancer, with a biotoxin like a Lyme disease or a chronic mold or a chronic fungus, or in dealing with everyday things. People use it on a regular basis for their kids' strep infection or ear infections or toenail fungus, or there's just a ton of different uses for the Rife machine. So a cancer patient will say, how long do I have to use this? And my answer is, you will never want to not use it. It's a great tool. So even after you've overcome your critical stage of cancer, you're going to still keep it by your bedside and turn it on every night while you're at home. Once you get past that critical stage and you're doing so much better, and you're going to take a trip to Florida or wherever for a week, you won't bring the Rife with you. So it's not something you're dependent upon, but it's a tool that is just so great to bring homeostasis back to your body on a cellular level. So you'll never read a lot about the Rife machine. You're never going to see ads on television about the Rife machine. There's just not enough money in a Rife machine and selling a Rife machine to a patient to help them with cancer. You're never going to see the hospital recommending it. But it is a machine that creates light frequencies that will stimulate those frequencies of the, remember, everything down to its smallest particle from a quantum physics standpoint is energy that vibrates at a specific frequency. So if you stimulate that cancer at its own frequency, it can bring resonance back to that cancer so it stops replicating. It can cause lysis of that cancer cell, and it will alkalize the tissue around there because it acts as a pH. It raises the pH by donating an electron because it's a photon generator. So it is a great tool that works well with so many different disorders. Now, the short history of Rife, he was eventually just, once the pharmaceutical industry literally took over the AMA, all the cancer doctors that were not using pharmaceutical drugs were basically run out of the country, and that's where you have the Mexico cancer clinics today. The Gerson Clinic was Max Gerson went to Mexico. The Hoxsey Clinic in Mexico is that Hoxsey left Texas and went to Mexico. He was basically shut down. Well, when Rife was shut down and his instruments were destroyed, he did not go to Mexico. Ironically, he was the closest to Mexico of anybody. He lived in San Diego, but he was an older man at that time, and he literally died a broken man. He just gave up everything. He just gave all his life's work was destroyed, and the AMA did its job in destroying anything that was in competition to them. That was the day at the time. I don't think they're so vicious anymore. Some people might disagree with that, but that's just the facts. So you won't read a lot about it in the news, but it is a great tool. It's not a cure-all. There is no such thing as a cure-all for anything, but it's a great tool, and we've seen absolute miracles with it. And the beauty of it is that just in the years that we've used it, we've had patients that have been complete skeptic non-believers, like me, see just complete miracles with it. There's a placebo effect with any kind of treatment, medical or non-medical. And I've just seen over and over where the placebo effect had nothing to do with this person getting better because they had no belief that they would, and yet they still got better. So we've seen people with 2 weeks to live and get better, but again, it doesn't work on everybody. So you have to have your expectations correct. More about the Rife on our website. This whole chapter in the book on the Rife is beneficial. There's other books. Barry Lyons has written a number of books on Rife. He's an excellent author. There's several videos out there on the life of Royal Rife. I think I have them tagged in our website that they can be beneficial too. There's dozens of books on energy medicine written by physicists or people that are more inclined to that left brain type knowledge than I am, and they can be valuable to read, though they're very heady. So, but it's a great tool. Again, many people will ask, well, how does it work? And I can explain a little bit like I do right now. And honestly, I'm a clinician, so I'm not a physicist. I'm a clinician, and it's so understanding. I just care that it works. That's my biggest concern. Does it work? And that's great. We're going to use it. So this is probably one of my favorite tools of everything. I wouldn't be talking to you if Rife didn't do what he did. I wish very much that I was able to meet him. He died in 1971, and that wasn't able to take place with me, but it was. He's been a blessing to many, many, many people, and I hope he's in heaven, being acknowledged for that. All right, I hope this was beneficial to you. I will see you on the next section, section 7, and keep up the good fight.